moving up to 168 to chase greatness, to chase one of the all-time greats at the 168 division. And Saul Canelo Alvarez is going down in just a couple of weeks, September 13th to be exact. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited. How can we not be excited to see one of the all-time great welterweights take on one of the all-time great middleweights? This is a fight you typically wouldn't see because of the gap in terms of the weight classes. Guys say styles make fights. I think the weight is going to matter to some extent. But before I get into my breakdown and my pick, I got to say, listen, if you like the content you get from Dub and if you like to hear us talk about sports, you rock with us, you in the comments, you whatever. We need 3 things from you. Give us that CLS treatment, comment, like, subscribe. Dub, I got to hear from you. What do you think is going to happen in this fight? Give us a breakdown and then tell us who you have ultimately winning the fight.
Yeah, for sure. I was able to take down a few notes, guys. I'm not no boxing extraordinaire, but I do somewhat follow the sport, especially big fights like this. But I wanted to make sure that I'm very lucid in how I'm communicating this to you guys so you can make an informed decision about who you're going to go with. So let's break them down by fighters. Let's start with Canelo. Canelo, age 35. A lot of people talk junk about him being an older boxer, but Crawford is 37. So that, to me, when we factor in age, that's not a variable. His record is 63-2-2. His pros is
Canelo?
Yeah, 63-2-2.
Okay.
Yep.
And what's Crawford's record?
Crawford is 41-0.
Yeah. Okay.
Crawford is 41-0.
Okay.
But with Canelo, really the thing that stands out to me the most about him is his power. Right, very powerful fighter, strong chin, decent defense, and he can overwhelm you with all the power that he throws behind those punches. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing to take in mind when you talk about Crawford moving up 3 weight classes is, can he withstand that power from Canelo to be able to take him to the deep waters? Because I believe that he's going to have to take him to the deep waters, but I'll get to that at the conclusion of my breakdown. One of the things that I've noticed through Canelo by just watching some fights, some historical fights, but also doing some research is that he typically get outboxed by people that are very fast and elusive. And so when you come with that great power, most powerful boxers are not, in my opinion, fast and elusive. And if you have that combination of both, like Tank Davis, that makes you very dangerous. But, the mystique of Tank Davis being undefeated and stuff now with that draw, is really just one boxer that's out there that everyone has their eyes on, and it's Crawford because he's still undefeated. But again, he struggles with fast and elusive boxers, Canelo, but then also he struggles against the southpaw boxers as well. So when you think about Crawford that can switch back and forth from orthodox to southpaw, that could cause Canelo some problems. Mm-hmm. Transitioning over to Crawford, I mean, his technical prowess is really why he's been so successful. Great footwork, awesome defense. He's essentially a ring general. Like I mentioned before, he can switch back and forth from southpaw, orthodox. So those are great things to have, especially when you're moving up 3 weight classes. It's not going to be your power that's going to handle Canelo and get you that W. It's really going to be your technical skills, your footwork, and being able to keep yourself out of harm's way when you're boxing against him. Case in point for me with Crawford, moving up 3 weight classes, that really puts him at a disadvantage. I don't think that does Crawford really dehydrate a lot to get down to his typical weight class?
I think a good bit because you got a lot of folks now that are talking about when you see them face off that they're really the same size. So I would imagine Crawford walks around like 160 to 165. So to fight at 147, he probably is cutting a good bit of weight. But he's proved that he's the guy at 147, top 5 all time in that weight class.
Yeah, and it has me questioning, would that take away from some of his quickness as well, carrying that extra weight in the ring and such, and having that weight on his joints. But case in point, moving up those weight classes, can he truly withstand the pounding pause that Canelo is going to put on him? So case in point, I have Crawford if he can protect himself and again and get a few licks on him, work that jab. I think he can make. I think he probably can take it either to a late round or by decision. Canelo can win if he attacks Crawford and he stays on Crawford. Don't take his foot off the gas. The problem with that is, can he make it to the deep waters with Crawford? I don't know. He's gonna have to be extremely conditioned. But I got Crawford. Round 9.
You got Crawford by knockout, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to make that. You got to make that clear. You got to make that clear. Because you said I got Crawford round 9.
I'm gonna say.
So you saying Crawford gonna knock
Canelo out? I'm gonna say a late stop. I'm gonna say a late
that's
stop.
a knock. That's a technical knockout. You said you got Crawford by stoppage, right?
Yes.
Crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Listen, where does the disrespect come in for the GOATs? In every realm these days, when it come to sports, we got folks to talk about LeBron and the fact that he moved teams, or they say he's this, he's that, but he's got the records. I remember Jay-Z said, numbers don't lie, check the scoreboard. And I don't know where this comes from. We talking about a guy in Canelo Alvarez who has never lost a fight at the 168 weight class. He has never been beaten at 168. If we take away him moving up to 175 and chasing greatness on his own and fighting against Dimitri Bivol, we're talking about a guy who has not lost a fight in 12 years. The last loss on his record is to Floyd Mayweather. A pound-for-pound top 5 any weight class all time is the last loss on his record. And yet we're saying that Crawford's going to come up 3 weight classes and stop him, not beat him on points. You're saying he's going to come up 3 weight classes and stop him? Guys, come on, bro. The disrespect has got to stop. I don't even know. Like, I'm questioning whether some people even have watched Canelo fight. Listen, this is a guy who has dominated for so long. Again, I got to quote Jay-Z again. It's never been nobody this good for this long at the middleweight division. Again, he had a draw to Triple G. Triple G is I would say, top 10 middleweight of all time as well. But Crawford is not coming up. He's not stopping Canelo. To your point, I love, how you broke down the technical ability and Crawford being the more technical fighter in terms of the skill set. I agree. And I think that's where his advantage lies in being able to get in to get points. Just tapping Canelo on the inside, making sure you're more active than he is at any given point. We've seen points here later in Canelo's career where he's not very active, especially when he fought Dimitri Bivol. At times, he had his guard up and he wasn't throwing a lot of punches. And I think if Crawford can stay on the inside, if he can maintain some of that quickness and elite speed that he has, and he's able to move and really be on his pivot, that he can, really win some rounds and steal some rounds by being more active and hitting without getting hit. I think that is a great opportunity for him. But I don't think it's just going to be an easy road to do that. I think Canelo is not going to be intimidated by any means. This is a guy who has never fought at 168. So you got a guy who's never been beaten at 168, and you got a guy that's never fought a professional bout at 168, fighting one of the all-time greats. And I just think that's too much to overcome, right? If we were talking about Canelo going down to 154 and him cutting weight, then I think it's closer to being an even fight, right? Because you're taking him out of his element, his comfort zone, and you're putting pressure on him to come in as a smaller guy who already is not as quick or fast as Crawford, and for him to compete on more of a level playing field. But you're going to his court, you're playing with his ball on the goal that he practices on every single day. Is not going to happen, right? I think a win for Crawford would be surviving and going 12 rounds, going the distance. He's going to get a lot of respect off of that alone because he's already an all-time great. And him doing that just proves his greatness, that he was able to go in there, stand toe to toe with Canelo, and stand tall, no knockdowns whatsoever. Competed and loses the fight on points. I think that's what we get. I think we get a scenario where this fight goes the distance. Canelo, being the bigger, stronger man, will dominate at different points in the fight. I think some of the earlier rounds, as Crawford is kind of filling out, we'll see Canelo getting some good shots. I think towards the middle of the fight, we'll see Crawford steal some rounds where he's a little more active. And Canelo, again, is, seeing what he's got, filling him out. And I think in the later rounds, when we go to those championship rounds, where both guys are tired from what will be a battle and what will be brutal, I think at that point, the bigger guy is able to lean on the smaller guy, put weight on him, bring power that I don't think Crawford has. I didn't see anything at 154 from him against Madrimov that would make me think he's going to go to 168 and all of a sudden have a lot more power. He didn't knock Madrimov out. He ain't knocking Canelo out. So I got Canelo by unanimous decision, 12 rounds. I think it's going to be a great fight, probably one of the better fights that we've seen outside of the Usyk and Fury matchups over the past couple of years. And I'm looking forward to seeing this go down on September 13th.
So let me ask you a quick question before we put a bow on this thing. Given that Canelo has on record professionally 67 fights compared to Crawford's 41 fights, so what's that? 18? No. What, 25 or 26 more difference?
Fights. Yeah.
What type of impact do you think that's going to have on Canelo?
I don't think it has any impact. We're talking about a guy that fought, 200 semi-amateur fights, right? I think that the impact is that he has 26 more fights of experience, and if we broke down the rounds, that would equate to, again, because I told you he hasn't lost in the past 13 years. He's been a champion for that long. We're talking about on average, within the average, some of those fights would be knockouts that ended quickly, but I would say at least 100 more rounds at probably 168 than this guy has. So that means that's that much more experience he has at 168 than Crawford has. Crawford has 0 rounds at 168, and that's going to make all the difference. You have some people say, oh, Canelo's old. I saw him against Berlanga. He didn't look old. I saw him chasing Skull around the ring. He didn't look old. I saw Charlo dodging and bobbing and weaving, doing everything he could not to get hit. He didn't look too old. So I don't think he'll look any different in this fight. We already know that Canelo is flat-footed. His footwork isn't the best. But that's not what he's known for, and that's not why we like, to watch him fight. Again, he's going to bring the power. He still has the skills to pay the bills. Crawford might be a little more technical, but ultimately this is a champion. We're talking about an all-time great, and you don't let a smaller guy come up into, your domain and beat you, and it's not going to happen on September 13th.
So let me ask you a question. And I'm going to use an analogy. Would you rather have a Porsche 911 Turbo S that has 15,000 miles on it, maintain, or would you rather have a Porsche GT3 with 20,000 miles on it that's been well maintained?
I don't even think that's a comparison we can make, right? You're talking about cars. We would have to talk about who's been maintaining the car, who's doing the work on it.
Porsche dealership. Both cars are certified.
It's not a comparison. We talking about hands and we talking about men. And at the end of the day, you got a guy who has never fought at this weight class. That makes a difference. Not taking a tune-up fight, not fight a trash can at 168 and just get a feel for the difference. He's not taking a tune-up anything. To me, it's clearly a great opportunity for both guys. It's a huge payday. I mean, we talking about both guys walking away with upwards of $150 million in one night. Great payday. Canelo might be getting closer to $300 million. I don't know. Don't quote me on the numbers, but the numbers are that good. We definitely talking about, a 9-figure night without any question. But yeah, man, it ain't happening. I don't.
Yeah,
You can ask me as many
hey,
questions. We can talk
I'm
about as
taking
many analogies as
I'm
we
taking a
want.
guy with less mileage on the body that is undefeated and has better footwork. That's more
But
technical.
again, there's weight
Technique
classes
gonna
for
trump power any day.
there's weight classes for a reason,
Oh
right?
yeah, oh
Like
yeah, oh yeah,
otherwise,
oh
we would
yeah,
just see guys
oh
fight
yeah,
whoever. It's
oh yeah,
weight
for
classes
sure.
for a reason. So when you say it's got less miles, but okay, you take that same car, and again, I don't want to get into this analogy because it's not comparable at all. But you take that same car and you take this Porsche. You said a Porsche GT3 or something, right?
Yeah,
What was it?
GT3. Yeah,
A Porsche,
GT3, and you got Turbo S.
and,
Turbo S
and
is faster.
No, no, no. Let's do a Porsche GT3, and we do a Porsche, uh, a uh, a Cayenne 4S or whatever, like the top end Cayenne, right?
Mm.
That's built to drive in the mountains if you need to. That's built to go up the mountain if you need to, the mountainside. The GT3 can't even go up the mountainside. It's too low to the ground. So we're talking about two different utilities, and you probably, again, one is better in one scenario. So Crawford being better in a scenario where, again, we're talking about 147. Maybe at 154 he gets Canelo, but at 168, I'm taking tried and true. I'm taking the Ford Raptor that I need to haul this across town. I'm not trying to haul it in my sports car.
We'll see, man. Might have to put a wager on it. We'll make another
We'll
video
see.
closer to the fight. Might have to put a wager on this one.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm down for it. Listen, as always, we give it to you straight. We need three things from you. We need that white glove treatment. Give us that CLS to be exact. Comment, like, subscribe, and we'll be back with more from me in the arena.